Do you think it's going to be relevant, or it's relevant even today?
Oh yeah, Rang De Basanti it's been 20 years.
Yes.
We released the film on 26 January 2006, and I must admit or must say that it's 20 years younger today. And the film, the messaging, the music, the social impact is is as relevant today as it was when the film was made, and not just for India and not just for the subcontinent, but it's been universally acclaimed across borders in the Western world, in Japan, in Far East Asia, Korea, in US especially. It's also the only film to get a BAFTA nomination. It was also the official entry for the Oscars, and we were humbled to receive 4 national awards for the film, which is the President's Medal. Yes, so Rang De Basanti means a lot. Not just to me, but I feel it doesn't belong to me anymore. In fact, it belongs to the people.
What do you think, sir? Is Rang De Basanti is considered a cult classic? Why do you think the movie is considered a cult classic? Of course, you said a few things, but if you could detail that out.
Um, uh, it's one of those movies which not only was the second highest grosser of the decade in those 10 years, but it was loved by critics and the audiences alike. Who loved it more, I can't say. And as such, so it was something which has left an indelible mark in the subconscious of the nation as such, especially with the youth. The youth who've grown up now are taking, I meet so many of them, and we have these shows off and on in film clubs and neighboring countries and different countries. I keep getting invited. And the fathers and mothers are now showing the film to the children.
Why?
Yeah, they you have a good novel on your bookshelf, and you would share it with your daughter when she grows up. I think similarly, Rang De Basanti has got that status. Is that film on the shelf of your heart, which you want to share with your loved ones? Yeah.
What was also interesting, it has redefined the way you look at patriotism, your love for the country. Tell me, what does patriotism mean to you, and how do you, while you were making this movie, did you think that it's going to redefine this particular space for years to come?
No, I made the film from the heart, and it was borrowed from real life and inspired life, and we dramatized that as such. I'm from an Air Force school, Bal Bharti Air Force in New Delhi, and we would have a MiG-21 plane in the main foyer as you enter the gates. उसका ढांचा था, मतलब without the engine, the shell of the plane. And later in life, when the plane started crashing due to a corruption scandal which the CAG had unearthed, it was a 2,000 crore scandal of faulty trigger mechanism parts. So it made your blood boil. It also urged you to do something about it. And as a writer, as a director, the best I could do was to make a movie as such, and that was my expression at that point of time. When you talk about patriotism, patriotism is not thumping your chest. As per Rang De Basanti and as per my belief, definitely. It's not pointing a finger to somebody else, to a neighboring nation, say, as such. Patriotism is more inclusive. It has a much higher meaning. It means that you have to get your hands dirty in running this country. And that was the final message of the film. In fact, there's a dialogue in the film कि कोई भी देश perfect नहीं होता, उसे perfect बनाना पड़ता है. And पुलिस ज्वाइन करेंगे, IPS ज्वाइन करेंगे, IAS ज्वाइन करेंगे, पॉलिटिक्स ज्वाइन करेंगे और ये देश बदलेगा, हम बदलेंगे इस देश को. So it was a call to action to the youth that stop sitting on the fences, stop taking flights to America and settling there, and build your own country. Yeah, it's not easy to build a nation. It takes a generation to do that, and generations. And we are a very young country. You know, we got our independence in 1947. So I felt, and I still feel, that until the youth jump into the middle of everything, a real change is far away.
Okay. You mentioned about the plane sequence. How old were you then? At your college. I mean, I'm just asking that you first.
I was in school.
You were in school that time.
When I was growing up.
Okay.
The crashes started happening late 90s and early 2000. Okay. And so I had to weave a story around it. And that there were so many things. I was fascinated by the revolutionaries of the independence movement, namely Ashfaq Khan, Ram Prasad Bismil, who handed the baton to Chandrasekhar Azad, who handed the baton to Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sukhdev, Durga Bhabi, and so many of them. And these boys and girls were, young adults. They were merely 18 to 21 to 23 when they walked to the gallows for their country. And it was very fascinating. So I wanted to understand that spirit. Where has that spirit gone? Where has it vanished? And wanted to bring that spirit back into the generation today. Yeah.
Okay. So you were also of that age, is what I'm guessing, that you felt a little more younger. You said school and college.
School was my Air Force. College was I was a young adult. Yes.
So you also felt that angst.
I finished college in '83 from Delhi University, which is a very vibrant social and political environment as such. But the film I made later, when I had established myself as a filmmaker.
Okay. Because I also read, as you rightly said, the movie is borrowed from real incidences. It is also somewhere borrowed from your own life, your angst that you had somewhere at that point of the time. You wanted to bring all of that out.
Most of my work has been very personal. Whether it was Delhi 6, I'm from Old Delhi, that's the pin code ID of Old Delhi 110006, so Delhi 6. Rang De Basanti had picturized Delhi University, it had Air Force, the heart of Air Force at the heart of it. So it was the boys and girls you see in the film, which is Amir Khan and his friends, and Sharman Joshi and Kunal Kapoor and Siddharth and Madhavan and So Ali Khan were actually inspired by my real friends, and including myself, where I fitted in that group. Not carbon copy inspired, but certain traits, character traits inspired.
Which of the boys you were more inclined, or you felt that okay, this is
There was a bit of
what I resonated
there was a
most.
bit of me in every character there.
Okay.
In fact, when you write a story, a bit of you does go into the characters because that's the way you think, and you expose yourself, and your work kind of exposes. Yeah.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, sir. You also started like work very early on this movie, 7 or 10 years. You were working on developing the story of Rang De Basanti. It was first Ahuti, and then there was an English title. I'll check the name of it. I've written it down. And then it became Rang De Basanti. It was over a couple of drinks that you and Kamlesh ji had, and then how the story developed from there. So if you could take us on that journey.
So, like I said, I was very fascinated by the young revolutionaries, and so we were doing a film on the armed resistance of India, which was the young revolutionaries, Bismillah, Shafullah Khan, Kapuri train robbery, Saunders, Jallianwala Bagh, and the bombing and the smoke bombs in the parliament, because deaf needed to hear, needed a loud voice. They were not actual bombs, they were just smoke bombs. They won't harm anybody but make a big noise. So we wrote a story around that. In fact, Kamlesh wrote it, and it was called The Young Guns of India. And I thought, let me just bounce this story with some youngsters in Bombay. So we called a group of 30, 40 youngsters, and I bounced a story off them, and they could not relate to it because they were more interested in making their first million, or going to the US to get a degree, or getting a job in a multinational, or wearing Nike shoes. They went up to that. So I thought Bombay is a bit materialistic. Let me test this in Delhi. In Delhi, the results are even more disheartening. In fact, somebody told me that Kirti Azad, the cricketer and then turned parliamentarian, was related to Chandrasekhar Azad. So they were throwing things like that at me. और भगत सिंह आज होता तो क्या होता, मतलब मैक्सिमम आर्मी ज्वाइन कर लेता या बैंक का जॉब ले लेता. तो which broke my heart. And we got into a huddle, myself and Kamlesh Pandey, and we said, you know what, we'll make a film, but it will not, people won't get it. It will be an interesting film, it will be an entertaining film, it will be a historical, and I would love to make it, but it will not go through. And then this story emerged from that story, that let's make a documentary on the revolutionaries, and the boys who are playing the documentaries, the spirit of the revolutionary enter them.
That's why a parallel world.
Yeah. So two parallel worlds, one in 1920s and one in 2000, and they travel. And wherever they crisscross, there's a spark there. And in the end, the lines blur. They just overlap, and you can't differentiate who is who.
Okay. The casting also was a very extensive process. What was it specifically that you were looking when you were casting for the key characters, the boys, and even Soha's character, and even I mean, every character is so damn important. I mean, even Vahida ji's, be it Om Puri ji, Anupam Kher ji, and so many of them. So what were you specifically looking while you were casting the actors?
The character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they fit the role or not perfectly, or do they will be able to bring out that emotion or not?
100%. It shows in the film. I need not explain that. And so when you cast for the film, you are looking as to which actor is going to justify your characters. So that's how it is. Amir's heart beats for India. He is moved to tears when something goes wrong. And Atul Kulkarni is very straightforward and has a huge integrity about him. Of patriotism. And so we casted around them, and it was Soha's first film. So it was Kunal Kapoor's first film. It was Sharman Joshi's second film or first film. Then Alice Patton's first film. So all these youngsters were there. And it was my second film. So I think we all went in there listening to our intuition rather than a head. We didn't care whether the film will be a hit or a flop at all. And that was thanks to Ronnie Screwvala, one of the most wonderful producers I've ever worked with. And he gave us complete rope and to express ourselves. And he saw the film and he liked it, and he was a great bouncing board on thoughts and ideas. And also, so he was not just a person who gave money, he also gave his thoughts. So all in all, a good team came together. It was teamwork, it was collaborative. The music by A.R. Rahman was outstanding. Prasan Joshi wrote out of his skin when he wrote the songs. And we were also inspired by the great poets of the past. Mostly Sahil Ludhianvi and Neeraj and Dinkar. And in fact, Sahil's poetry, बहुत दिनों से है मशगला सियासत का, जब जवां हो बच्चे तो कत्ल हो जाएं, was pasted on this wall right here, you're seeing. So I wrote it there, and I wrote the film looking at that every day in the morning. And there's another poem of his which is खून फिर खून है टपकेगा तो जम जाएगा, जुल्म की बात ही क्या, जुल्म की औकात ही क्या, जुल्म तो फिर जुल्म है आगाज से अंजाम तलक, खून फिर खून है 100 शक्ल बदल सकता है, ऐसी शक्लें जो मिटाए तो मिटाए ना बने, ऐसे नारे जो दबाए तो दबाए ना बने. So that gave birth to खून चला in the film. And definitely the title song Rang De Basanti. So Bhagat Singh and friends used to do street plays to evoke the emotion of the spirit of freedom among the youth. So they would go from एक मेले से दूसरे मेले में जाते थे, बैसाखी के मेले से और कहीं जाते थे, and they would perform the drama of Rang De Basanti, called Rang De Basanti as such. And it always intrigued me what made the youth of that time to put their pen down and pick up a gun. What inspired them? And then in one of the letters which Bhagat Singh had written from the jail, he said, we don't want freedom from the Goras to be enslaved by ourselves, our own. So the freedom should be, cannot be, has to be from humans exploiting humans. And आज हमें अंग्रेजों से आज़ादी मिल जाएगी, कल हमारे लोग हमारा शोषण करेंगे. And I must say his prophecy came true, sadly so. We are fiercely divided into a rich and a haves and the haves not as a nation.
you said a very pertinent thing that um, when Bhagat Singh and all of them, the freedom fighters back then, their idea was to put the pen down and pick up the guns.
What made them?
What made
Not
them?
idea. What
Yeah,
made
them to do that. There's a scene in the movie. I would like to show you, which is there in the book, and you gave me to read that. This particular scene is so relevant, and whenever you watch that movie, it brings tears to your eyes. If you could go back to this and tell us how this was developed and how it was shot.
The candlelit march.
Yes.
So, since I've grown around Luton Telly, my childhood has been there. India Gate was my playground, and we would go and salute the Amar Jawan Jyoti out there and feel very patriotic that we've done a job as such. When the warriors were dying in plane crashes because of a corruption scandal by politicians, and the then defense minister took a joyride on a MiG-21 wearing a G suit and claimed that the plane is safe, otherwise I wouldn't have traveled. और ये जो जवान पायलट हैं होश में नहीं जोश में प्लेन उड़ाते हैं. So, and then there's the Amar Jawan Jyoti in India Gate. Why do we have it if we don't respect the soldiers of our country who have pledged their lives for the country? So, when Madhavan's character dies in a MiG-21 plane crash, led by his mother, played by Wahida Rahman, who also lost her husband in the 1971 war, that's the backstory in the film, was also in the Air Force, and then she gave her son to the country after that. She leads a protest march supported by all the boys and girls to India Gate, and I felt there couldn't be a better location for a protest than the Amar Jawan Jyoti as such. And it kind of fired the imagination of the nation as such, that candlelit march in the film. And then we saw the continuation of those marches outside the film. Whether it was Meher Bhargava case or Jessica Lal or the junior doctors fighting for quota, they would all peacefully march with candles. And recently, I think last week, there was a march in Uttarakhand, to get justice for the girl who was murdered 6 years ago.
The scene was written while you were writing the story, or how was it like for you? I mean, it's
100%. Yeah, we write a screenplay.
Entire screenplay together. Okay.
Yeah, a screenplay is written, and that becomes the Bible. Of course, you improvise as you go along.
Yeah. Okay. And about the filming thing, what was the brief that you had given to the actors? Because even you just, when it starts, you get moved by them. Like, did you give them time to prepare for it?
We prepared for the film for the longest time. In fact, because the finance was not coming for the film until Ronnie Screwvala stepped in on 30th of December, and we started shooting in March then. For entire 2 years, I was struggling for money for this film. But for all those 2 years, A.R. Rahman, Amir Khan, they all stood by me, and they said, you make this film and we'll make it happen one day or the other. Yeah.
Okay.
The brief to the actors was once this whole spirit had transferred into them and they had found it within themselves, they just had to express themselves. I didn't have to give any brief.
No, it galvanized the youth. Did you anticipate that it's going to make this kind of an impact where, so many places we'll see the youth participation in the real world, raising their concern of what was affecting them, or what was affecting the society at large, and they thought that the participation will make a difference. Did you foresee that impact?
I imagined it in a movie, and then I have to give it to the youth of the country who picked up the right emotion rather than picking up a song and dancing in a wedding or in a party or in a club to the song. They actually took to the streets and they emulated what was the most important point of the film. Yeah.
How do you view the youth of today? Do you have a young team in your office? Do you sense what kind of is there basically a difference between the youth of the early 2000 and today? Like you mentioned in one of the answers that you were kind of heartbroken, devastated with the responses that came from the youth when you started working on the movie. So the first part of the question is that, and the second is, do you think a movie like Rang De Basanti is much needed in today's time, and you think it will be allowed to make in the way you've made it?
It's there, you can watch it. It's on the platform. So you can always watch it. Why do you have to make it again? Okay. So that's one. Every generation evolves, and they learn from the mistakes of the generation gone by, and the sensible ones of the youth don't repeat that. Every generation has also seen the struggles and the frustrations of their mothers, fathers, uncles, aunties, and they don't want to repeat that. So generation does evolve. I must say the youth of today is far more evolved in certain ways. At the same time, social media does corrupt them all the time, and there's too much of noise they have to deal with. There's too much of connectivity they have to deal with. One of the best things invented have become their worst enemy, which is the mobile phone. So everyone is only looking at mobile phone. I don't know why they sleep with it, they get up with it. It beats me totally. I can't understand why. I know it's very important to be connected, and it's a lovely piece of invention to be wirelessly connected to your loved ones and the people you want to be connected with. But to be connected to garbage of the world is only going to unsettle you big time.
And you've also not repeated the genres. You've always made different kind of movies. But a movie like Rang De Basanti, can a filmmaker attempt with the kind of themes, with the kind of things that you were trying to talk about, or probably if you would yourself, make something which is so in the time, talking about our current times, talking about our current issues as a society, do you think that will be made and allowed in the way how Rang De Basanti was, to show what the reality is? Or do you think it will face a little ban or some issues here and there?
Well, Rang De Basanti was also banned. I don't know if you've done your research.
No, I didn't read the ban thing, but I read there were
we fought
defense.
it out.
Yes.
Yeah, and then finally the establishment saw the intention of the film. In fact, the film was viewed by the then Defense Minister, Honorable Pranab Mukherjee,
Yes.
and the three head of Army, Navy and Air Force in one theatre in Delhi. And then he went on to become the President of India. So it had gone up to that level of, see, you don't tell stories thinking about whether they will be allowed or not allowed, then stories will never come out. If you think of a result and not the process. So I think social cinema has always been there, will always be there, which picks up social issues and issues of the citizen and the society. Right from Bicycle Thief to Bandit Queen to Rang De Basanti to Do Biga Zameen, Mother India in its own way, were all films which dealt with various challenges we face. I'm working on two ideas right now. One is this whole demon of social networking, which is social media, and one on farmers' suicide, because that's relevant today.
Okay, that's great that we'll see at least the current subjects being talked about on cinema, because we've clearly seen with Rang De Basanti, and I've not followed the earlier movies, and my sincere apologies for that, of the past era, of course. But what I have seen, because I was in college when Rang De Basanti had released, and then when I started my journalistic career, I was part of the Anna Hazare movement. So that was the impact that carried on for years of Rang De Basanti. So that kind of impact that the movie had, that art inspires society and society inspires art, that is something which is missing in today's time. Don't you think so? And we need movies like that.
Who am I to say?
I mean, you're a filmmaker.
It's for people to make a choice.
Okay.
You asked me, I told you I'm making a film on the evils of social media and on something to do with farmer suicide. Trying to weave a story about, the person who's making Coca-Cola is a billionaire. The person who's making this watch is a billionaire. The person who is selling burgers in McDonald's is a billionaire. Everyone is rich who's making anything, whether it is tea or coffee or whatever we consume. The person who is feeding us and growing food is committing suicide. Shouldn't we all ask ourselves that question? And that's the question I want to ask now.
No, what I meant is that there are not many filmmakers. I mean, there are just few of them, who take on that challenge, that, or maybe that, come what may, I'm going to make what makes me, hurt or see the sorry state of affairs of the country or the society.
I can't speak for people. It's what you do and how you do is a question of choice.
Okay. I'll lastly come back to the music part of it. Music part of Rang De Basanti. Was it, sir, that you had briefed Rahman sir and Prasoon sir that let's convey things through music, through the songs, particularly something like Lukha Chupi. I mean, and you feel the emotion of a mother, and and that song just gives you goosebumps whenever you listen to it.
Yeah, it was a great idea. We had the film was already edited with all songs done and picturized, and A.R. Rahman was doing the background music. And when we came to the sequence of the funeral ceremony, and Vaidaji, the mother, is given the Indian flag of the martyr, which was played by Madhavan. He was deeply moved by the scene. And then he said, you know what, in Born on 4th of July, which is a Hollywood film about Vietnam War, where youngsters came back in coffin from Vietnam, wrapped in an American flag. There's a song called Where Are You, My Blue-Eyed Boy? A mother is saying that. So inspired by Where Are You, My Blue-Eyed Boy, he gave that thought. And immediately I liked it, and Prasan liked it, and we said, let's do it. And I miss her a lot now. I wish I could have done more work with her, which is the Nightingale of India, Lata Mangeshkar. She's not here between us, but she will live forever. She'll outlive 100 lives one can ever live. And I also miss Ompuri. He's also not. And one of the greatest makeup artists India has seen, Vikram Dada. He also just passed away. So there are some fond memories and sad memories. But yeah, Luka Chupi, excellent composition. What a duet of Rahman and Lata Mangeshkar. If there were to be a duet between two of the greatest ever, this is the one. And it's so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. No, any special plans for the 20th anniversary of the movie? And is there a specific thing that you would want the youth to, or maybe people in general, to take away from the movie? Those who have not watched the movie yet.
They can watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not stopping them.
No, I mean, is there anything specific? Of course they can, but you would want them to pick up from that movie.
No, it's up to them.
You want them to just, go by what
I've never wanted anything from anybody.
Okay.
I try. It is important that I do what I do to the best of my knowledge, my passion, with hard work, with honesty, and hopefully what I'm trying to say reaches out to people. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Choices is a very individual thing, so you make your own choices.
That's true.
Yeah, you can't speak for what's going on.
Mm-hmm. I know it's going to be difficult for you, sir, to pick, but from Rang De Basanti, if there are any 3 scenes, which are really close to your heart that impacted you while you were filming for it, or even while you were writing it. 3, 5.
It's very. It's not fair to ask me to pick up 3 scenes, but let me try. Jallianwala Bagh massacre, which gets juxtaposed with the defense minister shooting Madhavan, the Air Force pilot, in Jallianwala Bagh. I think that was an amazing juxtaposition of we are still massacring our own. Definitely we've touched upon the candlelit march and the protest and the expression, which in a very silent and a quiet way. See, what is a candlelit march? You don't raise slogans, you're quiet. You hope that people see the light. There's Agni in your hand. So it's very spiritual for me, that scene. Can I take 2 more scenes?
Sure. I said 5, 6, 7. I mean, that's public.
After the funeral ceremony of Madhavan, Amir Khan comes home to Alice's flat. And in Delhi, we would buy parathas in the night. There is a place called Mulchand which sells parathas through the night. So whenever it was a late night, we would go there and pack food or eat it there or something. So I made sure we got parathas from Mulchand, kind of thing, that kind of packaging. And while eating, he breaks down. And that's a very touching scene, a favorite scene of mine, because there he says the character says, Amir's character, DJ, says that हम जैसे लोगों का कुछ नहीं होने वाला, लाखों अजय मर जाएंगे, ये देश नहीं बदले, कुछ नहीं होगा इसका. उसके बाद they get inspired. And the most beautiful moment for me a dreamy moment, which every director wants, that one cinematic moment. They want a lot of them. We are very greedy people. But was the mustard fields. So we took the farm 4 months in advance and grew our own mustard to be that level. And unfortunately, there was a flash rain in January and the whole crop got destroyed. Then we went to the Agriculture Institute in Chandigarh and I said, you have to help me out. They understood and they transplanted mustard onto a location which was, and that was just for one shot. And then we cut it after that. So in that scene, there is a young Bhagat Singh and his father is sowing some mangoes. So he says, what are you doing? So he's saying, I'm planting mangoes. He says, why? He says, ek aam ugaenge, lakho aam aayenge. So he starts planting the gun. He says, what are you doing? He says, I will plant one gun and lakhs of guns will come out. And then the boys, who are by now all dead, enter that scene and interact with the young Bhagat Singh. So that I felt was poetic and lyrical. And then they walk into the light to the song of Rubaru.
Okay. As a director, I mean, of course, you've done work, but somewhere Rang De Basanti, do you think it's one of the most special, a movie that you're really proud of? Because as journalists, when we meet and when we cover so many things, when we interview so many people and write about so many things, there's always something, that we still really feel so proud that, okay, I've done this, be it whether it made an impact or it didn't make an impact story-wise. So as for you as a storyteller, do you feel that Rang De Basanti was that movie? Or is that movie, or you?
It's I don't know how to answer that. That is Rang De Basanti the movie I'm proudest of. You ask a mother who has 5 kids, whom are you proud of? She loves every one of them. So I love all my films as such. The most personal to me is Delhi 6. I'm very proud of that, of the voice it had and how it looked into the future. The most rebel of me is Rang De Basanti. The most stylistically of me is Aks. And the most, I've been a sportsman and I was heavily into sports. And the partition of India, growing up in Delhi, you heard stories. So bringing sports and partition together was Bhag Milka Bhag. That was the sportsman in me. So yeah. So I've learned from all these films. I've learned from the mistakes I've made, definitely. Tried not to consciously repeat them. Subconsciously फिर भी गलतियां हो जाती हैं. But you move on, you keep raising the bar for yourself in telling the stories. And that's the thought, yeah.
Like for us, Rang De Basanti is a perfect movie. I mean, you mentioned about mistakes. I don't see any of it.
There's nothing called perfection. I don't believe in that. I think this whole thing of being perfect, which has been taught to us as kids, has really messed up with the brain. Get perfect marks, come first in the class, come first in a race. We made our kids into some kind of competitive robots. So in life they also fight for a job against another job or some stuff like that. Everything else. I think I'm a huge fan of doing your best effort. So that's about it. So I don't think perfect is an English word. I don't identify with that. I don't dream in English. तो मुझे समझ नहीं आता है.